Hi, and welcome back to NutraRounds. I'm Ashley. I'm here with Jake and Todd, and our guest today, Jeremy from Kaerwell. We're excited to introduce you to him as a solution for all of your private label order fulfillment needs and more. If you guys have talked to me in the past, you know that I see myself truly as an extension of your practice. I'm not just here talking about supplements all the time. And so we're really trying to share some of these resources that can help you help your patients and have bigger reach. So, Jeremy, if you would please just say hello, introduce yourself, and I'll let you take it from here.
Absolutely. How's everybody doing? My name is Jeremy. As Ashley said, I'm the National Sales Director here at Kaerwell. And we've partnered with NutriDyn because obviously, as you guys will see, we specialize specifically in supplements, right? So let me switch my camera around. Boom. So you guys can see it okay, right?
Yep, looks good.
You So I want to kind of just take you guys for a quick walkthrough and show you what happens when products come into Carewill. So Carewill is designed as a 3PL. We're a third-party logistics company. We handle nothing but supplements for all the different brands we work with. Your providers will ship their products to us. This is our receiving, which is where products come in the morning. They get staged here. The building is air conditioned at 71 degrees throughout the day. We've got these huge air conditioning units that are pumping AC in here to keep these products shelf stable. We also have humidity control. So at the end of the day, we are humidity controlled and air conditioned, keeping us CGMP and making sure that the products don't clump up on the shelves. When product comes in, they're looking at expiration dates, they're looking at lot numbers, they're checking to make sure that the seals have not been, rubbed off in transit, that the supplement labels are still intact and haven't smudged by rubbing against other bottles. And then once it's ready, they put them on a cart. And from there, it moves over to the operational side of the warehouse, which is on this side, which is where all the products will live, right? Same thing on this side, air conditioned at 71 degrees. There's humidity control on this side. There's also refrigeration. So if you have products that need to live in the fridge, they can live in the fridge. When we ship refrigerated products out, we're shipping with related packaging with ice packs to keep the products obviously from being exposed to the elements. So if you're sending a lot of product, they're going to live in the section like this, right? Which has plenty of shelving space for us to keep the products. But for normal moving products, we're going to keep them over here, right? So every single provider will have a specific location. The products will live in that location. Even though products have their own barcode, we still assign a barcode for every product that comes in the building. We're building boxes all day. It's like Pizza Hut, right? We build boxes all day long, and we give the providers the ability to send customized tape. So instead of using clear tape on a package, we can actually use custom tape, which looks so much nicer when you look at a box that has custom tape, right? Looks so much nicer, more branded. Kind of Amazon led the way with this. You can also add stickers. You can do thank you cards. There's a bunch of examples here of different thank you cards. And this is where the magic happens. These are our pick cards. So our error rate is under 1% because we tend to use technology more than humans. What I mean by that, whenever an order comes in, we're putting a pick slip inside of the box. They get put on a cart. Our pickers are going to come. They're going to scan that box. It's going to tell them where to go. When they get to the location, they're going to scan the location. It's going to tell them that they're at the right place. Then they're going to scan the product to take it out of inventory. Now, if they scan a product and it's the wrong place, they're going to get a very loud audible that goes on their phone, their wristlet, that tells them, hey, you're in the wrong spot. So actually, here's Olivia. She's got her little wristlet on. If I could just show that here. So that's what it looks like, right? They have a little scanner. They scan the box. The box says you're at the right location. They pull the product. They bring it over to QC, quality control, where they're going to inspect it, make sure the right products that need to be in the boxes are in the boxes. If there's glass, they're going to wrap it in hex paper so the glass doesn't break in transit. If it's refrigerated, it's going to have an insulated package. And then it moves over where they actually put packaging material inside the box so things are not moving around in transit. And then it gets put in a box and the carrier comes and picks it up and sends it to its final destination, which is either the hub or wherever it's headed, right? Over here, we have our wholesale orders. So providers that are doing wholesale orders, they're buying 12 bottles at a time. They're going to be sent out of this section here because with multiple items in one order, there needs to be multiple levels of QC. So that's where they would come here. We'd make sure what's in the box is supposed to be in the box. Then we ship it out to be able to make sure that, again, we're not having a high level of errors. We have a lot of quality control, right? But there is human involvement. So naturally, there will be errors. Whenever there are errors, the providers have a huge team on our end to be able to assist. So let's say a patient messages and says, "Hey, I never got my order." You'll have an entire team here to be able to fight for you to find out where that product is. And at the end of the day, if the provider lost it, we'll submit a claim, we'll reimburse the provider, but also make sure that the patient gets what they need because it's not their fault that the product got lost, right? So we make sure that they get what they need. If providers have educational products, this is our educational side, right? So all of these are educational products that we can add to the order. So if there's a detox program, a weight loss program, and it comes with a trifold, we'll keep the trifolds here, we'll pick them, pack them, and ship them with that order. So I wanted to do a core because a lot of people tend to imagine what this looks like in practice. But when they see it, it's completely different than what they visioned, right? So this is, like I said, a tour just to kind of give you guys an idea of, from a fulfillment standpoint, how we operate. But of course, there's a lot of value-added services that we provide additionally to the fulfillment piece, which is building the Shopify stores. And as Ashley said, holding your hand and helping you through the process of actually getting the products in the patient's hands, including patients that you don't work with right now, right? Which we do have a lot of providers that are brand new that are saying, "Hey, how do I expose myself to a new audience?" And that's the value added services that we provide in addition to the actual fulfillment piece. So I'm
Yeah,
back
and
in
you
my
guys
own
do
place. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Ashley.
you do such a good job of, like I said, like that whole support from start to the product in hand. How do you guide practitioners in terms of like how do they know when to start? What kind of advice can you give people who are interested in getting started?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first thing is they need to have somewhat of an e-commerce platform. They have to have a way for patients to be able to shop, not just their patients, but also consumers that are not their patients yet, right? So the first thing is they have to have an outlet for people to go to and shop. So we build them a Shopify store if they don't have one. If they have one, we simply connect into it and then we're able to see orders as they're coming in. But the old adage of if you build it, they will come is not true, right? There's so many competitors out there. You're dealing with what I call a red ocean, right? Providers that are coming in, especially today, they're dealing with the fact that there's other providers, sometimes right down the street from them, that are selling the same products. So, how do they differentiate themselves in that type of a situation? And that's really where we shine, where I shine. My team comes in and helps them become visible because 90% of the practices that I work with have what I call the invisible practice problem, which means they're not able to be recommended by Google, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity. None of these agencies are able to say, go see this guy because they're invisible to them. Yeah, building the store is important, but also making the store visible is extremely important. And that's where content comes in, right? Actually giving these providers a platform to be able to tell people what they know, right? They went to school for a decade of their lives, and the only people who get to really benefit from that are the patients that are scheduling appointments and coming into their practices. We want them to be visible for patients who currently don't know they even exist. That's the key.
Hey, Jeremy, when we're talking about building these Shopify stores, if they're not tech savvy at all, they don't have really any idea on how to do that. How much maintenance is this going to be for them? And like, what do they got to do basically? How are you helping them out in that regard ongoing?
Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, that's the really easy part, right? We try to keep them as much out of the weeds as possible. Most of the providers I work with, they came into the industry to help patients. They didn't come in to learn marketing. They didn't come in to learn how to be an IT guy and fix their website when their website breaks, right? They came in to help patients get better. So we take all that off their plate. As I said earlier, $500, we build out a store for them. The store is branded to them. It looks just like it's part of their website, same logo, same colors. It looks like it's part of the ecosystem. But then once we hand them the keys to the store and we say, hey, your store's built, we also offer the opportunity for us to handle the maintenance, which means we are literally handling anything that site needs, adding new products, deprecating and removing old products. Black Friday's rolling around. I'd like to have a Black Friday page. We spin those pages up for them. All they got to do is send an email and say, hey, I'm using this or I'm doing that. We build it for them. So again, the whole goal is to keep them out of the weeds as much as humanly possible and keep them focusing on their practice.
And I know from previous experience working with you, with a couple of my practitioners, you do a great job at educating and supporting launch. So, can you talk about why that's so important and kind of some of the support tools you have in place to help people have successful product launches?
Yes, I love that question because at the end of the day, most of the providers that come to us are using another service, right? They're using a dispensary model or something else. And they're like, how do I transition my patients from this way? Amazon, going to Walgreens or going to CVS and buying the product there. How do I transition them? And that's part of the piece of the launch, as you said. There's really three phases of launching anything. You have a pre-launch, you have a launch, and then you have a post-launch. So part of what we do is holding their hand through all three phases, showing them, hey, how are you planning on rolling this out to your audience? Most of the times they say, oh, well, I'll just let patients know when they come in, or I'll send an email. And I ask, well, what does that email look like? And I read through these emails and I'm like, wait a minute, you're not seriously considering sending this, are you? It's like, we just opened up a store, come shop now. And it's like, who's going to do that? So we help them with actually creating a perfectly semantical email that they can send out to their audience that says, hey, we just launched a new store, come check it out. And for checking it out, here's a 10% coupon, right? But that's just the pre launch. There's still a launch and a post launch phase. And those are the pieces that, again, we hold their hand and we help them through each part of these phases so that they can successfully launch the product and the products that they're servicing their patients with. Elsewise, no one knows they exist, right? They just created a beautiful store, but if nobody knows it's there, how can they shop, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we help them through each of those phases.
You're that's awesome. Like I was on top of that, you guys kind of go above and beyond from what I've seen as well. Like when it comes to new product launches, like how do you help like practitioners figure out which products are worth launching before they, so they're not guessing at that?
So we work with almost 13,000 providers, right?
Mhm.
So we see a lot of what works and a lot of what doesn't work. And I got to tell you, it's not so much the products that don't work. It's the phases that they're in or missing. That's what doesn't work, right? So like they come to us and say, "Hey, I'm looking for this product or I'm looking to do this type of protocol," right? That is really where we kind of shine working with you guys, specifically Ashley, and saying, hey, let's create bundles, right?
Mhm.
Let's create some bundle protocols we can put together where we can look at the list of products you have and be able to help the patients shop navigating through cardiovascular health, brain health, sleep aids. Those are all categories that we can put products into, but we can also build protocols phase one, phase two, phase three, which really streamlines the purchasing aspect, right? So patients don't have to come and add 5 different products to the cart. They can just click one button and all 5 get added, right? So
Mhm.
that's kind of how we work with that in that case. And we lean a lot on you guys for that assist because at the end of the day, we're just a 3PL, right? We're just shipping our product. When it comes to actual ingredients and which products pair better with this, that's where we lean on your team, Todd and Ashley and Jake. We lean on you guys for that because that's where your specialty lies.
Yeah.
Great question.
Thank you.
I love that you bring it up that way and the way that you put that together. We're here to support our doctors, obviously, and get them that product to the finished product portion, and then we get it to you. Can you kind of like talk about your fulfilling for them? And so how does that really like scale for a middle to small size business as far as the fact that you're not taking part of their revenue, you're not doing anything like that. You're basically they're recouping 100% of this product and the markup because we're getting them there as like an added service and a consultant and helping them build that to the wholesale point. Then they're purchasing and bringing it to you. Can you talk about that a little bit and what that actually means for them as a small business owner?
Yeah, that's actually the part that most of these guys have a hard time wrapping their heads around because they're always like, well, how much is it going to cost me? Right? What are you guys keeping? So at the end of the day, we keep nothing. We charge $5 an order. It's a flat operating expense that they're able to put in and say, hey, this is going to cost me $5. Right? We pick it, we pack it, we ship it, we warehouse it, and it costs them $5. There's no hidden fees. There's no profit sharing. At the end of the day, they keep 100% of their profit, right? Which is the most appealing part about using us because everyone else has got their hands in their pocket, right? It's going to cost you 10%, 20%, 15% of your order value in order for us to do the service. And we have a fixed operating cost, and it's been that way for 14 years, and it's not changing anytime soon. We actually just had a meeting yesterday, and the two co founders were like, hey, we've had this question come up a lot where providers are asking us, since everyone else is raising their pricing, when are we raising ours? Please let our customers know there's no sight changing our pricing. Our pricing has been this way for 14 years. We're not changing it through inflation. We're certainly not changing it now. So that's a good feeling for our providers to know. And before, we didn't have a contract in place, which made our providers feel like nervous about the fact that their rates could go up at any point. So now the founders are like, hey, what we can do is put a year-long commitment in so that they know when they come to Caerwell for the next year, their pricing is not changing. It is what it is. It's not changing. So that's a huge benefit too, but it's a fixed operating cost, Jake, which makes it really appealing.
To
Yeah,
me,
that
I
helps a lot. Oh, go ahead, Todd. Sorry.
was gonna say like, what I love that you guys, I think, add and just a huge benefit that you guys offer is just like the inventory tracking and lot and expiration control, right? Are huge for all our practitioners and their practices. Can you maybe go in more detail, like how Carewell's platform can help practitioners like prevent those back orders and pretty much stay on top of their product life cycle without creating more work for their practice or their staff?
Yeah, as I said before, we rely heavily on tech, right? So part of that is we give them access to what's called Ship Edge, which is our warehouse management software.
Mhm.
But that gives them transparency so that they can see not only how many bottles they have in stock, but when do these products expire? That's
Right.
big, right? So it gives them complete control to see expiration dates, lot numbers, how many units they have. And then also, to your point earlier, we tell them, hey, here's your velocity report. This is what you're moving a lot of, which means you should be ordering more of this. Here's what you're not moving so much of, which means you should be ordering less of this, right? So it helps them to be able to manage through the financial aspect of buying too much of something that they don't sell enough of and then having to throw it out because it expires, right? But then on the expiration piece, we also tell them when they're 6 months away from expiration. They don't have to guess. They don't have to come clicking around and try to figure it out. It is told to them, hey, these products are going to expire in the next 6 months so that they can do something about it. Now, the doing something about it is simple. That's Ashley's question earlier is how do we help these providers with a value added services that we provide? Well, that's one of those value added services is like, hey, these 6 products are going to be expiring in the next 6 months. Why don't we create a flash sale? Here's an email you can send out to your audience.
Mm.
Why don't we create a whatever you want to call it, clearance page or an sales page, and we create that page and put all those expiring products. You may have 2 of these, 3 of those, 5 of these that are going to be expiring in the next 6 months. Let's build a page that can showcase that where patients who are buying that product regularly can say, wow, there's a huge discount here. Let me go buy it here. Right. So
Yeah.
those are ways that we can help them to not go through so much churn when it comes to expired product.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, the tech piece is definitely big. And again, with that means training. We have to train them on the system so that they know how they can see these things that are at their fingertips. We're not just going to give them access to a system and say, go figure it out.
Mhm.
We have a full team of onboarding specialists that'll actually help them throughout the entire onboarding so that they know how to use the system. And then after the onboarding is concluding, they still have access to the team. So let's say they hire someone new. They don't need to train that person on how to use our system. The only thing they need to do is go into the calendar, schedule an appointment, and say, hey, I'm sending my 2 new people for training so that they can learn how to use the system. Takes them out of the weeds, which is what we want. We don't want them being stuck on how do I get this person trained. right? We want to handle that for them so that they can focus on running their practice.
Yeah, it really is seamless working with you all in that regard. Something I'm curious about, and I have my own ideas. But one, what are the biggest errors you see or pitfalls with new practitioners trying to launch their own label? And do you think there's a sweet spot for how many SKUs they should consider launching with?
Yeah, that's actually funny because the answer is the same for both questions. I believe in starting slow and growing fast, right? Versus trying to come in with 100 SKUs, because financially, that's a huge commitment that they're making when they're getting involved with that level of SKUs, right? So I agree with the smaller, the better. Let's start with 3 or 4 products. Even if you have 20, 25 products, let's start with 4 or 5 and then trickle in the others, which give you 2 things. One, it shows growth. And the second thing it does is it gives you permission based marketing. You now have a reason to reach out to these people to say, hey, we just launched a new product. Gives you a reason to send an email, right? So even if you have 25 products, I still say start with a smaller group, 5, 6, 10, 12 products, and then slowly start trickling in new products weekly or daily, and then sending out those correspondence to let the customers know we're adding new products. That way they know, hey, maybe they don't have this yet, but I can ask. And you get patients start asking you, can you add this? Because they see that you're frequently adding new products.
Yeah, I love all of the marketing support that you guys offer. One of my favorite things I learned from you, actually, and I know we want to avoid back orders on a consistent basis, but one of my favorite takeaways that I think will maybe contradict most people's ideas on back orders is, especially during their pre-launch and launch phase, you say back orders are great, right?
Yes,
Potentially
they are.
driving demand.
100% demand. That's really what it comes down to, right? It's all about supply and demand. So from a consumer standpoint, if they see that the product is sold out on your website, then one, I would offer the ability for them to be able to do a pre-order. Oops, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would offer the ability for them to do pre-ordering. So when a product goes out of stock and a patient has interest in that product, don't just say the product is not available. Give them the opportunity to prepay for it and say, hey, when it does come in stock, I want it, ship it to me. So it could come in 3 days, 2 days, 5 days, but they're already spoken for it because they've prepaid for it. So there's a lot of ways to handle back order, but in my opinion, back orders are great because it means that you have the demand for the product.
Awesome. Anything else you guys have question wise that you get from practitioners when it comes to private label or order fulfillment and how all that works?
I had to hop in on the fact that not everybody knows this. We've been through a bunch of different, we know the whole nutritional, clinical nutritional space. And one of the things that's remarkable about NutriDyn is our low point of entry. I mean, we're talking 12 units to get a SKU on the shelf. Can you talk to us about how much, like, if they're storing a bunch or they only got a few products, Jeremy? I mean, we're talking, they kind of want to dip their toe in. They don't really know, and so they're like, we want to order 36 bottles, 3 SKUs or something. How does that look as far as I want to have 36 bottles on your shelf or 300 bottles on your shelf? What do you think
Yeah.
about?
That's a good question. So we don't have a minimum. You could have 0 bottles on the shelf, right? We don't have a minimum. So the brands, you guys have a minimum of 12, which is a joke, right? Like it really is. It's the barrier of entry is so low with 12 bottles that for a couple $100 they can start off and they can get running. So at the end of the day, I would say, as I said earlier, start slow and grow. So if 12 is the commitment, you buy 12 and don't go into 36 unless you're moving 36. Right. And that's kind of the direction that I give them on the onboarding side of things is that question comes up a lot. How much should I order? Order the minimum, order 12, get them in. Let's move those 12 and then add more as we go. And at the end of the day, they're going to have a velocity report that comes out on our end that shows them how much they're moving of a product. And as they come down to like 6 bottles from 12, they're going to get an alert that says, hey, you've moved 50% of your stock. And if they move that in a small amount of time, they're going to get an email that says you've moved 50% of your stock. Think of reordering now so that you don't go into a back order. So there's a lot of that kind of flow that happens, that flow of information where they can kind of gauge in their minds and their OMSs what should I be ordering for this? Should I order 12, 24, 36, 48 bottles? They're going to know. They're not going to have to guess because our system will tell them. And the more orders that are flowing through the system, the smarter that system becomes in predicting how much levels of inventory they need to have per SKU. Because I think that question is fully loaded because if they have a seasonal product, why would they order 24 bottles if they only move one bottle a month? They're going to have 2 years of that product. And, in 2 years, they may run the risk of that product running into an expiration, right? So we always say start small and grow. Start with 12. If that's your minimum, order 12, move those 12 or 6 or 8, and then order more.
Yeah, great advice. And it is such a low barrier to entry. The thing that I also love about working with NutriDyn as a partner for private label is there's no additional fees on our side. You're paying the same thing you're paying if you're ordering on our labels. Our design team is really talented. They work to dial in the design. There's a quick turnaround from your first label generation as well as reorders. So back order for us isn't an issue. And even if they get low on your side, we get it to really quickly. So it's just a pretty seamless all the way through start to finish.
Yeah, out of the 790 brands that we work with, NutriDyn is literally one of the best because not only are you guys quick in initial ordering, right? The initial order that they put in, but the reorders are even faster. It's like 3 to 5 days product is already landed, right? Which is incredible because usually it's like 14 days, 21 days. And imagine if they do run into a back order situation and a patient's waiting 21 days, that's not right, right? So the fact that you guys get product in and out so quickly, especially private label, that's next level. So yeah, NutriDyn is a phenomenal company to work with. We love NutriDyn.
Yeah.
And we love you guys.
Likewise, right back at you. I mean, you're on speed dial for me, so I can't say enough.
Yeah. So,
Thank you.
yeah,
You're
that's
welcome.
gonna say thank you. And honestly, Jeremy, you and Kaerwell, I mean, you guys are batting 100% for me. Like I've not had any negative feedback at all. Like you guys are a pleasure to work with, like super efficient. Yeah, straight 100% from the field.
Thank you. And that's a big issue for me. Like I'm usually I'm hyperactive when it comes to answering, text messages, phone calls. Like
Mhm.
there's very rarely that somebody slips through the cracks and, they send me a text and I don't get back to them. Even Ashley actually yesterday I got with Ashley and I called her and I felt so bad because a day went by or 2 days went by and I didn't get back to her. And I called her up and I'm like, "Hey, Ash, I'm so sorry." And she's like, "It's cool. It's only been a couple of days." But yeah, we're hyperactive on customer service because at the end of the day, we understand that the provider is just the first level. Their actual patient, that's the one we're worried about because some of these patients are really sick, right? We have cancer patients that rely on the products that we're shipping to them. So again, we're hyperactive on customer service for that very reason, because the patient's the one that suffers if we drop the ball.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
we
guys are
are the
amazing.
You guys are, and we look at ourselves. I mean, we care about our doctors. We care about the patients that they're serving, and so we do see it as our job to be a gatekeeper of good vendors of things that will only add value and quality and help them bring this whatever their message or their passion is beyond the four walls of their business, so that they can really do the good that they're setting out to do. So, from all of us, just thank you very much for being excellent at what you do and for providing such an incredible service. I just want to say thank you guys again for joining us, for being our doctors, for letting us serve you, and get back to us and let us know if this is effective for you. And definitely get started with Jeremy and the guys at Kaerwell and our private label department to bring your goodness to the world. So have a great week.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.